ridiculously hot outside. It was a coincidence. It was a little bit more probably than a coincidence that my feed was cut out here, of all places. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those that are on here, I'm Matt Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw. If you do not know me, I've been covering my own political framing back in 2017. And on Friday, I hand-delivered my letter here to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Northern District of Mississippi, right to the hands of Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman. I did so on those very steps right there. Bob gaffed it off. I asked him if he remembered me. I had put my trust in this Assistant U.S. Attorney back in May of 2017 when I had a death threat issued to me, when my right to free speech and in petitioning the government for a redress of grievances was ultimately shot and destroyed by the Tannehills, the incoming mayor of Oxford, Democrat, socialist mayor. I was on the agenda to speak out June 6th, the day of the election, and that was effectively canceled when an emergency injunction was taken out on me, barring me, keeping me 500 yards from the soon-to-be incoming mayor. My wife just brought me a snow cone. And on a hot day like today, a snow cone really does help. Okay. So, to fill you in, Friday I hand-delivered my inked letter to Blowhard Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, and I didn't have that nickname for him before until I figured out that his corrupt ass was part of the problem. So, what happened? I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "I do." And he looked at me when he first saw me like he already knew exactly who I was. I knew he knew who I was. I just couldn't remember what his name was. I put my trust in this Assistant U.S. Attorney to guide me in the right direction, or to take the evidence I already had and do something about it. The problem is, because I'm not a disgusting liberal, because I'm not a socialist, because I'm not a Democrat, because I don't fit the agenda of this city that they're aggressively trying to shove down the throats of the citizens in this area, because I take a stand for what's right, for the Constitution, for Southern heritage. I had information that would have had ramifications on the incoming mayor and her husband back in May of 2017. I told Bob I was trying to find out why the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District, which has a fiduciary responsibility, a moral responsibility to investigate crimes of corruption and certainly to prosecute them if they exist, why over about 2 months' time I got the runaround, I got kicked to the back. They refused to give me a call and look at all the evidence that I had gathered in regards to this being 100% framed, my civil rights being conspired upon to be removed. He wouldn't give me an answer. I had requested, and I have been long now in wait of, the 302 investigative report generated by the FBI from a sit-down meeting that I had with him May 25th, 2017, where I discussed the death threat that was on me, where I discussed how my rights, my civil rights, my First Amendment right to speak, as well as petition the government for a redress of grievances, how that was thrown away due to a cheap shot injunction. And anytime the FBI meets with a citizen, anytime that there's any kind of interview, especially at a field office like it was done, it's supposed to be done in the presence of a second agent. And that was the case. There were two agents that sat down with me in the conference room of the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi. In a FOIA request, a public records request, I have requested the 302 from that sit-down meeting to corroborate everything that I've said. I also know that the FBI is a politicized weapon. They've been a politicized weapon. They especially were activated as a political weapon when the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was elected to office. You see the proof with General Flynn, how the crooked FBI illegally wiretapped him in order to purposefully frame him to try to get inside of the Trump organization. And so I know not to trust the FBI to do the right thing. So in addition to this 302, which is missing according to the FBI, they will not respond to it, I also requested the video evidence of this sit-down meeting to corroborate the accuracy of the 302. And what do you know? The video is deleted after a certain amount of time that they could not specify the amount of time. They simply said that it's up to their technicians to determine. So when I pressed Bob Norman for this, for why they sat by with a moral and fiduciary obligation to answer the call for help, to prevent public corruption, he wouldn't give me an answer. I asked him about why his office would not even so much as return a phone call to examine the evidence. He would not give me an answer. I said, Bob, your office, and this is why I put together the open letter that I did, because whether or not the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Mississippi wants to provide answer or not, that letter needs to go on file at the Department of Justice in Washington, addressed to Attorney General William Barr. This corrupt bullshit has gone on long enough. It's affected enough lives, it's destroyed enough lives, and God knows it's destroyed mine. Marine Corps veteran, patriotic citizen. My rights are brutally trampled on, and nobody seems to give a shit. And what is apparently a dumbed down society from people drinking the Kool-Aid that's been given by our government pushing some kind of alternate plan here. And I have full faith and confidence in our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. There are enemies of our country embedded in the alphabet agencies, such as this right here: the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, that are directly causing significant harm to our society. They're not going to stop. They're not going to back down until they completely destroy it. And it's on the citizens themselves to step up and grab the reins and either do something about it or allow it to happen. And if you allow it to happen, you're not going to have your opportunity to save it later. And that's why I'm taking the aggressive approach that I'm taking, and trying to vindicate myself through writing with the Outlaw, to trying to get to answers. Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, when I told him that he and his office had a moral and fiduciary obligation to protect American citizens, to go after, to prosecute the real criminals. His answer to me, which was absolutely gawking, was our office is protecting is protecting the public from criminals such as yourself, knowing that everything, the letter, the DVD that I just gave you, everything that I've uncovered and I've published, there's absolutely no way I could have possibly committed the crime that they accused me of. The FBI knew it. That's why the 302 is missing. That's why they will not respond to the FOIA request. That's also why the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County, as well as Lafayette County's attorney, when pressed for details about that May 24th, 2017 phone call, which through the Sheriff's Office, through their own admission, was what sparked the warrant, what generated the warrant for them to come after me, for them to ambush me on the square in Oxford when I was going to a bar to sit down with a friend to have a beer on May 26th. That was what that came from. And this blowhard U.S. attorney wants to call me a criminal. He's the criminal. He's the problem. He is directly the problem. I wonder how many of these vehicles with dark tint driving by are FBI, the investigative arm of the U.S. Attorney's Office. These people picked a fight with the wrong one. Because honestly, like I said at the beginning, they can try what they want to try. This time around, I don't care. I'm not selling my soul to the devil a second time and pleading out to some bullshit that I didn't do. I'll sit it out like a patriot would, proving my innocence. I'm not allowing this to happen. Because see, here's the thing. I got 4 kids. I got 3 that are biologically mine. All of them are girls. And if I sit back and allow this to happen, if society as a whole has been trained to turn a blind eye to something such as this, if agencies are allowed to conjure up anything that they want to conjure up in order to politically motivate another, in order to remove the liability off of an agency that made a false arrest at the beginning of that month, well then, my daughters, unfortunately, don't have a future or a shot in America anyways. Because America will have long consumed itself before then. So I owe it to them, and I also am doing this to help prevent something like this from happening again. The true criminals need to be held responsible. I couldn't remember if it was May 24th or May 25th that I met with Bob Norman, the Assistant U.S. Attorney, who then directed me to go and speak with the FBI about the issue. But my wife actually told me that she remembers fairly well that it was May 24th, 2017, that I spoke with Bob Norman. And May 24th, 2017 was coincidentally the day that the mystery phone call came into the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department investigator Jared Bunder. And after the response that Bob Norman gave me on Friday for simply trying to hold his office accountable, for simply asking why they would not return a single phone call in regards to what was alleged as horrible public corruption nightmare. A quid pro quo deal that benefited four separate parties, including the incoming mayor of Oxford, two bar owners, who they themselves were the one that started the little back and forth on Facebook, on social media. It benefited the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County through the sham arrest that Timmy Pruitt made May 1st, arresting me standing in front of the Confederate statue in Oxford on the square, holding the state flag of Mississippi, because I didn't have a permit, and I asked him what his badge number was because he lazily forgot to put it on his uniform. That enraged him, and he made a wrongful arrest. And it also benefited the mother of my now 6-year-old child, who has been used as a chess piece against me in a staged war of the courts, which, by the way, her attorney and the original child custody, the husband of the Oxford mayor. Ray Tannehill, by the way, 3 days ago, was appointed by the Mississippi Supreme Court, was appointed to the Mississippi Bar Tribunal. You know, the people that ultimately decide if there was wrongful conduct committed by an attorney. He himself is part of this, played a huge part. In fact, I don't think that any of this would have gone on if it weren't for Ray Tannehill's involvement. I don't. And how someone like himself gets appointed by the Mississippi Supreme Court to a position that he had absolutely no reason being in light of the serious allegations made, is beyond me. And it just shows how much tougher of an uphill battle this is going to be. They are, one by one, maneuvering pegs in place. I myself am one by one putting pegs in place to, at the end of the day, be victorious in vindicating myself, doing it in the in the name of justice and patriotism and to bring the truly responsible parties to justice. In that open letter, go read it if you haven't read it yet. There's a landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling by the late and great Judge Antonin Scalia. It was United States versus Williams, in which he ruled that the grand jury does not belong to any of the three branches of government. Rather, the grand jury belongs 100% in its entirety to we the people. And that by that, the citizenry are empowered to impanel a citizen's grand jury to present evidence, to obtain indictments, to try and to mete out punishment to those convicted. And I want this office right here behind me to do their job, to quit kicking the can down the road, to quit passing the buck, to do the job that they're tasked with doing, to produce the evidence requested, to give answer to the questions stated in the letter, although I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be sending it to D.C. without any answers from the U.S. Attorney, and that's just fine. But I think it's very ironic, I find it actually quite humorous, that 30 minutes until 5 o'clock, there isn't a soul at the U.S. Attorney's office in the parking lot. Not only did they not fulfill their duties that they're tasked with, but not a soul up here working at 4:30. And these people are paid for by, guess who? You. Hold your people accountable. You only have one chance to do this. It's nearing bad times in America. Soros is trying to usher this in. Gates is trying to usher this in. Socialists are trying to usher this in. Take a stand for America before it's too late, folks. Matt Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw. Thanks for tuning in. Share this live stream.